I think we're good.
Hey,
I think we're going.
I think we are. Are we here? Are we live? Can you hear us? Wait, we're really doing this?
So welcome to the 1 year anniversary edition of our little Skype meeting broadcast series.
Yeah, it's amazing, that we had an opportunity that you realized that it was 1 year. The funniest part, though, I think about all of this is we all leave tomorrow for Microsoft Ignite.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Sean Wilson. I am product marketing manager for deployment operations for Skype for Business, and my colleague here is.
My name's Jamie Stark. I look after voice and networking stuff for Skype for Business, also in the marketing organization. Proud colleague of Sean Wilson, and we leave for Ignite tomorrow. And it was a little shocking that we look through our broadcast calendar periodically. We sit together as a team. We kind of think ahead, be like, hey, what product stuff is happening? What's going on with these features and that features? Should we do a video interrupt thing like we did last week? And then I went, oh, wait a minute. We actually started this in September of 2015. So yeah,
and
it's been a year.
and the fact that we have done 29 episodes, because normally you'd only have 26, except we did the EMEA Convergence one in the middle. We slammed 3 of them together during Enterprise Connect.
That's right. I don't know how many folks actually saw those, but they were fun. Yeah,
no, we've had a lot of views after the fact.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And actually, the one though that I thought was interesting, we also had that adoption one that just showed up in the middle on a Tuesday afternoon with like 12 hours with Debbie Urbini. So, let's kind of give a little background on what we're going to talk about today. Give some people some context.
Sounds good.
First of all, we all head to Microsoft Ignite tomorrow. Most of us are flying out tomorrow or Sunday. It starts on Monday morning. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and what you can kind of expect to see there. We're also going to walk through what we've learned this last year, what we've done, some of our favorite moments, what the evolution looks like, also why we did this, how we do it, and then really kind of give you a behind the scenes look, kind of see some of the sausage making, so to speak, of what it means to put this broadcast on, and really how low effort it really is.
Absolutely.
For such an ability for us to reach out to our community.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why these are so much fun to do. That we can get together, very low effort, put up a camera at a little workstation and be able to talk to all of you. And actually, I still remember at Enterprise Connect, so March of this year. We've been doing the broadcast for a little while. We kind of had this commitment to we're going to slog through it and we're going to just get used to doing this every 2 weeks, and having some folks come up to Sean and I at Enterprise Connect going, hey, we really love your broadcast. And we went, oh, wow, that's great.
People are actually watching.
That's so cool. Of course, we've got stats and we see this stuff. And so we do know that there are folks, but still that they found that there was value here. So anyway, bunch to talk about, and I think the for me and everyone else on the team, our heads are completely filled with our little show that we have coming up in Atlanta, with us and 20,000 of our good friends and colleagues,
and basically we will take over Atlanta.
Yeah, it feels like that. The Chicago show was monumental. It was so big and it was so much fun. And I on the one hand I kind of missed the intimacy of the link conferences, but on the other hand, being able to talk with folks who haven't had a lot of exposure into Skype for Business,
totally,
and are still like, hey, I'm getting into Office 365. I really like what you guys are doing. Tell me about what's going on with Cloud PBX and meetings, and that's a fantastic opportunity. Really love having those conversations.
It's also interesting because we get to meet a blend across where you might not have a CIO or a CTO go to the Link conference, but they'll bring their team to Ignite, and so you get not only the specialist, but then you get a real opportunity to meet with people that might not have a chance to really listen to what we talk about on a weekly basis.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. No, so we're crazy excited about this. We have a couple things that we wanted to talk with you about. first and foremost, our fearless leader. Oh, let's switch over. There we go. Our fearless leader, Gurdeep Singh Paul, who looks after the engineering of both Skype Consumer and Skype for Business, is doing a general session that is titled "Move All Your Communications to Skype for Business Online." Like very clear. Like,
there's no mincing of words.
No ambiguity whatsoever. Kicking us off. First thing, Monday, 11 o'clock comes. I think it comes after the big main stage keynote. So everyone goes to the main stage keynote and then kind of follows along to the general sessions. And so definitely don't miss this. We have we can't obviously share what's going to be on deck for Gurdeep, but for those of you that have been ardent watchers of this show, you can have some guesses.
You'll get the theme that we tend to go, right? So.
you could perhaps look back at the last few episodes and think that maybe there are some things that Gurdeep's going to talk about that are next steps of some of those really, topics. Yeah. And it's action packed. I can't count how many demos he has in his keynote. It's a lot. It's wild. Oh yeah,
it's a lot.
Customers are going to be with him, and so you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be tremendous. Even stuff that we have never shown before.
Yeah.
Even things that if you're at WPC or if you're at Enterprise Connect, you may be familiar with some of the things we do on the big stage. Gurdeep's even bringing more, and so it's such a treat too, because he's so much fun to watch and work with in these things. So.
And we know that everybody that's watching can't make it to Ignite.
Totally.
So one of the things you can do is you can actually go to the ignite.microsoft.com site and actually watch his general session live at 11 o'clock. And by the way, that's 11 o'clock Eastern time.
Eastern time, right?
In Atlanta time, and on Monday. And I think that's actually going to be. I strongly encourage there's some really cool stuff that's going to happen.
Yep.
That's about as much as we can say. But we did want to kind of talk to you a little bit about what else is actually happening at Ignite.
Definitely.
So, Jamie, if you want to bring up the slide, we can kind of just give them a quick overview. But it's chock full of sessions. And by chock full, I mean a lot.
Yeah, no, there's a tremendous amount of content out there. When I say 42 breakout sessions, and I had the opportunity and the pleasure to help kind of coordinate some of the curriculum that we're doing here. This doesn't count all of the partner-led sessions. This doesn't count other sessions that are in office that are also going to refer to Skype for Business. This is kind of our main line track for our breakouts. So adoption, Sean's favorite topic, of course. Everything about the clients. Yes, of course, we're going to talk about the Mac, but also around mobile and around PC, getting into some of the details around mobile, like content around using MDM and MAM solutions with our mobile clients. Obviously, stuff that's near and dear to my heart. I have both a kind of cloud PBX overview session, plus a couple folks from engineering are going to be doing deep dives on the organizational auto attendant call queues. Then there's another section that's a deep dive on phones specifically.
Yeah.
A bunch of deep dives on hybrid, both setting up hybrid generally and how to do the Cloud Connector edition. Meetings, there's a whole section on PSTN conferencing in addition to meetings.
And there's actually, so to tie to that, we talk about meetings, we talk about hybrid. We've also got, hey, by the way, migrating to Office 365 and Skype for Business, really what does that mean? And actually tying that around actually the Skype operations framework, some of the new things that we're actually going to announce there that we'll announce next week that'll be really cool. But also there's some new stuff that we're going to announce at Ignite that will be available after the fact for people to download if they're not there, right?
Very good. The one thing though, of course there's a bunch of labs that you can do that are great. They're all interactive. They'll give you a sense of actually how to configure this, the work. You can of course come to our booth. We're gonna have the whole solution up and running at the booth. Come and check that out as well. We will have the new edition of the Skype Room systems available. That's going to be really exciting. And speakers from all over the place.
Yeah.
Speakers that are from our partners, that are from MVPs, that are from our product support, obviously from engineering. But I think the one that I want to encourage folks to attend the most. I personally find these just tremendously valuable and with tons of insights are our customer sessions.
Yeah,
so
totally.
There's one each day. Accenture has one of the biggest deployments of Skype for Business server in the world. And the way that they have operationalized and looked at management of Skype for Business server is huge. And there is so much great learnings there. Cushman and Wakefield and Kelly Services both doing a bunch with Office 365. Yep. And so please, take the opportunity, go out and check out these customer sessions, because they're not coming to Ignite and we're handing them a deck and saying, go and say these words. This is their story. This is how, the bumps in the road and all, how they are looking at ROI, how they're looking at doing adoption, how they're thinking about like all of those topics they look to address in these sessions. So it's just fantastic.
There's also a little Easter egg in this that isn't actually that we talk about. It's actually in the description, but no one knows. The very first session on Tuesday for Breakout at 9 a.m. is called Raving Fans. Okay. It's how to create a raving fan. However, we are bringing in Air Canada.
Oh, yes.
To talk to us about how they worked with us and the things they've learned. And it's going to be a great opportunity to really hear from a live customer about adoption.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the interesting ones, because we love the technology, but really understanding the some of the challenges and nuances real customers have and what they can kind of do. So not just plugging the one session, but also we talk about customers. We're bringing a customer into actually one of our sessions and really talking about it.
And this is this kind of diversity that we've had in technical sessions is something that we started up at Link Conference, where we said, we are absolutely going to have the 400 level and the 300 level sessions that really dive into the technology and how to think about planning and how to think about deployment and how to operate it. Troubleshooting sessions and deep into development against the platform. Of course, we're going to have all those, but we also want to have a little bit more of the practical, like, well, how do I think about doing a deployment? How do I think about doing a rollout?
Yep.
What are the physical things that I should print out and put up around the office, and how is that going to help folks transition from in some cases very antiquated kind of communication system that's really diverse and that has a bunch of different stuff you got to think about, to the kind of great nirvana of Skype for Business.
Awesome. Well, so the takeaway is Microsoft Ignite is going to be epic for Skype for Business.
and we'll be there.
And we'll be there.
And should we talk about the thing that we're going to do there? We're going to do another broadcast there too.
We are going to do another broadcast there. And actually, we're going to have a professional setup, like a 2-camera shoot and a producer and speakers. That's crazy, because what we're about to talk to you about is actually the evolution of what this last year has entailed. And those of you that have followed us since our very first episodes have seen some of the evolution. 2 different buildings, well, actually 3 technically.
Yeah, so our very first session, the very first broadcast we decided to do, we had the Skype meeting broadcast capability that was available in preview. We kind of talked about it, within our team and thought, wow, this could be tremendously powerful. And we love the opportunity to talk in this kind of unfiltered way out to the whole community.
Whomever.
Yeah, right. So there are folks on this broadcast right now that I know that are partners, that are direct customers, that are our employees. Yeah, that's right. So we get this huge swath of folks, and it's just it is such a powerful tool that we wanted to celebrate that. But on that first day, the Murphy's Law was in full effect, and we rolled in the morning, and
our building network was down.
There wasn't any wireless. There wasn't any wired. That was a little surprising. And Sean, with his meticulous knowledge of the Microsoft physical corporate network, had a wonderful idea.
And so we went to one of the buildings that's an internet hub to realize that if we had to, we could plug directly into a switch.
We felt like we had a good odds if we were going to physically plug into this particular building, that we were actually 1 or 2 hops away from some of the core and aggregation layers on the network. we're I don't know how many steps away from the ASR, right?
So you might want to show the image of what our first was.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sean put together this great slide. a little bit of the evolution of SfB Cast. So in the upper left-hand corner, that is the pile of cables and cruft that we brought with us. Literally just randomly unplugging because we got there early. We were really excited to go.
It looked like the one It looked like the one in the middle, right? Initially.
Yeah.
And then we shoved everything into a messenger bag.
That's right. And we hightailed into this other building that we had to drive to, and we rolled in, and we hit up the receptionist. We're like, "Do you have any conference rooms open right now?" And she's like, "I don't know. The network's acting really strange." And luckily enough, one of those conference rooms had a wired network that was, offered to away. It was great.
And the other one there is we talk about how the evolution of this, and we're going to show you a little bit later the behind the scenes. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what we do and how we do it. But that one on the far right is actually a setup from Enterprise Connect, where Jamie and I did the broadcast from the booth.
Right. Literally on the couch with the table in front of us being the setup there that you're seeing. I think we were using wireless at the time, and that's a little interesting. If anyone's familiar with wireless at show floors, there's a lot of RF. There's a whole lot of broadcast stuff that's happening at that time, and luckily we had enough bandwidth to be able to get out the door. That was tremendously fun. The one in the lower left-hand corner, that's a special also behind the scenes as well, where we were doing at the time the poll, right, and the pulse. Yeah, exactly.
And so when we do the pulse, like one of the biggest things that we do is we send the pulse out to you. And as you'll notice, there's no pulse today because really we just thought this would be a great informational session. There is Q&A, so if you've got questions, throw them in the Q&A manager. We'll triage them as we can.
Yep.
But that one that was there was interesting because we were all in Jamie's office. As you can see here, we're not quite in an office. We've got a little bit more space. We'll show you what that looks like. But the thing that was so interesting about that one was that we didn't have a way to communicate back and forth. So we wrote it in marker in whiteboard marker on the window, and you can see the trees down there. And what we had to do is make sure we wrote above the trees so that we could see.
I'll flip it back so folks can
see. So you could actually see it again.
So literally, like that's the perfect cloudy Seattle sky for probably mid-November or February, where it's just starting to get light outside, but it was enough reflectivity, or there was enough contrast there. Yeah, so I could kind of squint and see, like, oh, hey, look, 60% of the folks are here, and are listed along with us with Link Server 2013 or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is really, so we've been doing this for a year. Why did we choose to do this? I think that personally it was because you and I like to talk. I mean, let's get down to the brass tacks. I mean,
we just don't have enough opportunities to talk to people extemporaneously
without people interrupting us. That's one of the greatest things about broadcast. You can you can actually deliver a message really to anybody anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, this is a story I tell in almost any customer meeting where we're talking about the power of Skype meetings, and we focus a lot on just the ease of use and working across devices with the same look and feel and all the great capabilities and how it's built into Office. But broadcast really blows all those things even further, where just folks like Sean and I, individual contributors in a marketing organization, want to go out and reach our audience. How powerful is that for any marketing organization to be able to take advantage of? There's that piece. And then of course, folks do high-end broadcasts, type meetings,
earnings calls, or all hands, or town halls,
absolutely,
whatever, right?
and have extra products and extra configuration and now it's another license to pay. And here, this is something that we're just including with generally with Office 365.
Well, and if you think about it, so anybody that has heard me talk now knows my background was video prior to this, right? I came to Microsoft to help us with our video strategy internally in IT. I'm now in marketing. And one of the things, though, is that broadcasts, to do a broadcast event for most companies, if they have not built the infrastructure in that's hundreds of thousands of dollars and network to manage. What they do is they end up going and contracting out to a company, and typically it's a 5-figure event, right?
Wow.
Because they have to bring in a production company who then sets it up, make sure they've got the facility, then they've got not only the bandwidth, but then they're set up with a content delivery network, which with Skype for Business and Skype Meeting Broadcast, we plug right into the Azure CDN.
Yeah, exactly.
And it lives natively in the client. And so what we really wanted to do was democratize, right?
Absolutely.
Make it available for anybody that has Skype for Business to be able to deliver a message.
The other slightly kind of more geeky lens on this too, that we didn't write up on our little show flow here, but I always think about is this is one of the kind of first features where we're really bringing the kind of raw power of Azure and the raw power of our cloud down to customers, whether they're operating in our cloud or whether they're operating on premises with hybrid.
Yeah.
And so this is the first thing, and there are so many others that we have stacked up that are just that are capabilities that there's no possible way practically that you can operate this on premises in any kind of reasonable fashion.
You couldn't scale.
Yet for us, looking at this from Azure, like these are essentially Slack Azure resources.
Right.
The last EBC I had, one of the directs of the CIO like immediately got it. He goes, "Yeah, the marginal cost of this to you guys is 0." And I'm like, "Well, it's minusculely above that, but yeah, that's the goal."
And the other thing, let's take it even beyond hours, but take it into companies. The elasticity, right? So what does it take to fire up spindles to send out a broadcast around the world to 10,000 people? Oh, and by the way, what's it also taking spindles to transcribe and translate?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a feature that we had shown off in a very kind of early beta at Enterprise Connect, where we had the Zig's keynote being broadcasted around the world, and then at the same time that we had a back-end Azure process that's just doing kind of core automatic speech recognition. First, taking what you say and then transcribing that, and then that transcription can then be translated to several different languages. So like that's just another. If you think about the resources that would be necessary to operate that on-prem, it's crazy.
Well, the intelligence.
Right, exactly. No, exactly. Just the raw cycles necessary to be able to do that, and the corpus for being able to do the speech reco and all those pieces. That was my history, actually. That's where I came into this business, was from contact centers and speech recognition systems, and that's a tremendous amount of intelligence that now in the cloud just is now available in so many different ways.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
How do we do it? Well, we sit down here and we plug in a PC, and then we plug in that camera, and then we click start, and then we go.
Really? So, well, I think there's a little more to it than that. So that's how we technically do it. We schedule it in the broadcast. One of the big things, though, for us is that early on, we like doing this, and as we said, we slogged through this for the first 5 months of making sure that we did this. And one of the things that was really kind of interesting was it would be Tuesday, we're broadcasting on Friday, and Jamie and I would go look at each other and go, "Hey, what do we want to talk about this week?" And so we'd started a OneNote, and we'd like do what we wanted to talk about. And I think at some point halfway through the year, we actually wrote down a list of like 70 topics that we wanted to cover at some point. And
our idea scrum.
Our idea scrum. But one of the things that we've learned is that if you can put a little bit of thought and planning into this, it really helps you so that it reduces the stress. It also helps you plan what your communication plan is externally. We use social, we use our tech community, we use our field, as well as also any of our account teams. And those channels, and by having a production schedule of what's coming gives them the ability to plan it as well.
Absolutely.
And I think we learned that early on. A couple of things was, hey, there's a 1 week process, there's a 1 day process, and then there's the day of process.
Yeah.
And eventually we will actually probably bundle it as a blog. Right?
No, yeah, and that's actually one of the things that we're working to do right now is to take the learnings that we've had from this year, really be thoughtful about what's been working and what hasn't been working, and then kind of put that together as a process that other folks can follow if they're interested in doing some of the same things. Personally, I think this is a great thing that I'd love to see all the other Microsoft product marketing teams do as well. I mean, just I personally think it's a really compelling way to reach out to customers. I think that there's some value that you all have gotten from this, and so yeah, that's the first step. And then second is, again, any other marketing organization that wants to reach out directly has an opportunity to do so.
And even let's take it even beyond marketing. This is a tool that HR can now deliver training without having to go and build out an entire learning management system.
Yep.
They want to get out a message because of something, they can actually report it. Here's a great example of actually how broadcast was used internally. We've got Microsoft Ignite we've got hundreds of staff people and speakers and everything. I mean, we've got 90 speakers alone just for Skype for Business.
Yep.
And so we need to get that word out. And they actually did a broadcast of the know before you go.
Exactly.
And so it's another way to get that out, where if it's a one-to-many capability, you want to be able to drop that out and drop that meeting, drop that information.
And then you don't even have to think about the recording. Like the recording just happens automatically, right? So people ask, oh, is this thing going to be recorded? Like, well, if I can't make it, well, yeah, not only is it just recorded, but hey, like this is just easy for you. Anytime somebody could go to that link and go and watch this, even if it's midnight, that the producers don't have to go through and do an upload, and then two, it just makes it really straightforward for other folks to be able to consume.
Hey, should we show them a little bit behind the scenes what this actually looks like?
Yeah, I know you've been looking forward to doing this.
Okay. So I'm gonna give the background before you switch.
Okay, all right.
So historically, we were in Jamie's office. You saw some pictures before of what that looked like. This is actually our team meeting space, and occasionally you'll hear the sound of a fire door opening and closing, right? Because we are right above the stairs, and this is our open team space. It's right outside Jamie's and other people in our team's office. So what you're about to see is actually a little bit of the sausage making. So do you want to switch over and I'll describe what you're seeing?
I'll make that active.
Okay, so what you're actually seeing here is our little meeting team space. What we've done is we're using this camera that you can sort of see here. It's the Logitech conference cam that we're using. And we use this as our audio and video device because it's literally one cable that plugs in. We've got a little Nook PC over here, and this is our room. Hey, Ben, wave to the audience over here. Ben is actually helping us produce. He's doing the Q&A manager in the back. He's also helping us with some of those processes that we're talking about, making sure that we're getting that standardized. So what you're seeing is really, we wanted to get it to the right height. We used reams of paper, right? I mean, it's
so fancy.
It's very fancy. But our ability to create a broadcast that actually is just in an open space is actually quite remarkable. That it's not a huge investment from effort or time.
Yeah.
But it has such a great impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny too, because people come up to me and they're like, wow, this looks so good. And it's just the studio. And well, this is the Shoji screen that used to be in my office that we used
from IKEA.
That's right. That's right. That we would drag every morning before broadcast. We drag it from another open space and stick it in my office. That way you couldn't see people walk by. Well, this just now lives here. This was here when we rolled in, and we literally, when we rolled into this new building, and we saw what we had here, we're like, well, this is perfect. This is great. And yeah, every once in a while you'll see people walking by behind us because this is the way that you get in and out of the building from the side. Or that's just the way it works.
Or occasionally you'll have somebody come in on the side, not realizing we're in a broadcast, and try to have a conversation with us.
Like the director of Skype,
just came in.
Marketing.
Yeah, he just came in. But one of the things actually that I wanted to talk about was the evolution of the technologies that we used here, because we've tried a lot of different devices, right?
Yeah.
I think we've stuck with the same camera.
Well, part of that's just the fact that it works and we feel comfortable with it, and it's all good. Like yes, you've gotten a lot of feedback. Yes, the Logitech conference cam. It's what we have. When we did Enterprise Connect, we used my workstation.
Yeah.
Like we just sat like, because I think, you know, we dug through our bags. We're like, oh, we don't have a camera. Screw it. Let's do this.
Yeah, we did your workstation, and then we also have tried like doing the headsets.
Yeah.
Remember we did the paired like Savi, the Playtronic Savi, because it like could pair to the one, and we got feedback that it was a little thin on the audio.
Right, and we were really nervous about every once in a while on Fridays. Right when we start broadcasting, they'll start doing yard work outside, and so we hear this blower, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, are people able to hear?" No one can hear the damn blower when we're broadcasting.
And we've tried it with like a puck, like the puck speakerphone, and that's been really successful. And we actually just went to this, but really, I think
it's because we project.
Yeah, we have. I don't know if any of you watched the last episode, but we have a new team member, Angela, and Angela is much more soft-spoken than Jamie or I. The running joke is we know when Jamie or Sean are in because they can have their door closed and we can still hear them.
Yeah.
So
sorry about that.
So, okay. Well, what's next? What's next for us? What are we gonna try?
Oh my goodness. What should we try? I think I'd like to throw that out to the audience a little bit. I'm curious as to what direction you folks want to see this go. You know, we've done sessions that are business focused. We've done sessions that are technical. We've done sessions where 80%, where we just talk. That's right, like this one. Ones that we've done a lot of demos where we've used the Magewell. That's one thing that we should talk about. Because somebody on the community this morning was commenting like, this Skype meeting broadcasting looks interesting. I want to share my screen though. The way that we do that is we use a small HDMI to USB device that essentially takes in any HDMI feed and then turns that into a USB compliant video stream.
Yeah, and let me give you a little inside trick to it. So what you do is you come in as a secondary presenter, right? So like my machine was the camera that came in on that last one when you saw the broadcast. What you can actually do is you can loop from your machine's display port out or mini display port or whatever, HDMI, whatever, and you can loop through, and basically what you do is you create it as a camera source via USB. And so you can use the same machine and you just use that as your camera feed. And that's how we do a lot of our demos. So if we're doing screen shares, that's how we do it. One bit of advice, don't use Zoom In. We got feedback early on that because of the rendering rates and the frame rates is that it was a little hard to follow.
And you can see why, right? It's going through a bunch of transcoding steps. Like this isn't any different from if you're taking a voice call and you move it from 711 to 729 to 726, and every time you go through those transcoding steps, you have an opportunity to lose some quality. The same thing happens in this video, right? So I'm going from some HDMI source that may be 1080p, and then I take that to USB. That's a transcoding step. Then I've got another transcoding step when Skype for Business takes that in, then packetizes it. Then I've got another transcoding step that hits in Azure Media Services as it renders, I think, into like a dozen or so different
it's somewhere. I thought it was 7. It might be a dozen.
Okay, no, there's multiple different kind of rendering states that Azure Media Services does.
Well, yeah, because you have to think about it in Europe, Europe and Asia, they have a different transcoding than in GSF. You've also got the fact that at QuickTime versus what's on my Windows phone versus my Android, and resolutions and scale. As well as the fact that they use like the smooth streaming, right? So that it goes through it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So you figure there's a lot of complexity in the technology. That's kind of the nice thing about the cloud in there is that we manage that piece.
Hide all that stuff, just make it easy.
We hide the sausage making, and really that's the
But doing that, but that type of HDMI to USB converter works really well. Don't have a crazy size desktop. In some cases, resizing your desktop down just where the visual elements are a little bit bigger. That helps a little bit as well.
Zoom up zoom up your browser,
your web browser if you're showing a web tool. Yeah, totally. So you tell us, what should we be doing next? How should we be thinking through this? Do you want to see Sean going through ladder diagrams of how when a client goes and signs in to Office 365, like all the different DNS and cert stuff it hits? That could be a fun 400 level session.
And my question is, do you want 400 level sessions, or is it an opportunity for you to just learn? about what's coming in new features, because we've asked in the past, what's your favorite way to get features? We've heard the blogs. Early on, it was the blogs. I think now we'd probably get another feedback that people like this, right? Like that they use this as a method. One of the things also that for us with what's next is we're actually going to, one of the things that we've done is we moved from the Yammer community now to this techcommunities.microsoft.com. So go join at aka.ms/SfB community. Join there, choose the Skype for Business. There's a Skype for Business broadcast page underneath the blogs tab there. And the reason that we've done that, and we're going to keep doing this, is one of the pieces of feedback we always got was, hey, what's coming next? How do I find out what's coming next and when it is? Some of the other feedback we got was potentially trying some different times of the week.
Oh yeah. So
So as you see this next, let's say 3 months, you might see some variance from it being Friday morning and you're drinking your coffee or having your lunch, or if you're in London, you're buying.
Well, now the next one, so
next one happens to be next week.
The next one happens to be next week, and it is 5 p.m. right? 5
on the
p.m.
East Coast.
On the East Coast time.
Thursday.
So Thursday, the 29th of September. Ignite's been keeping us busy.
Yeah, we've been it's funny when we walk in the morning and we're like, wait a second, I got off the computer with you at 11:30 last night. It's 6:45. What are we doing back online? But it really, this is our big show. This is we're so excited because this is our opportunity to do what we love to do, which is talk to customers, i.e. why we do this.
And show off the great technology and have a good time with everybody.
So we'll be doing a full recap.
That's right.
Of Ignite.
All the goodness.
Totally. Live from Ignite on next Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. I don't know what time that is in Europe.
So thanks so much for coming out and joining us for our little one year celebration. Can't wait for the next year and to see what comes of it. So all righty.
Thank you.
Signing off. Have a good one.